House week. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Apparently, week claps today. It's fine. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, some of you, like me, were wondering, all right, we lost out on Calais Campbell. What's the next move, right? Do we go get a free agent D tackle that we don't really love? Do we just fortify other positions? What are we doing? As of yet, nothing. And one of the reasons we may not be doing anything is that because we lost Calais Campbell and the number of snaps he plays and the money he got back in his contract, the Dolphins are actually in line to get a complimentary pick. We mentioned this weeks ago that when you lose a player that plays a certain number of snaps and gets paid a certain amount of money, you get comp picks. They could be third round, fourth round, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever round. Because of Calais' contract and the number of snaps he's expected to play, we're projected to get a fourth round pick just because he left, right? But the way it works with comp picks is that if you replace that player with someone else with a similar contract or similar minutes played, then it cancels itself out, right? So by not signing anybody and assuming Calais plays next year, his normal minutes, normal production, we would get a fourth round pick. If we sign someone, then we go back to zero. So I don't know if the plan is we're planning for the future. We don't think anyone on the market right now is good enough to really sign. Um, could be injuries, could be contract negotiation kind of situations. If you're planning for the future, then it makes sense that we lost Calais. That's a big loss. Let's take the incoming pick, and then maybe we can use that in the upcoming draft, future drafts to kind of make our team better on the margins, right? I don't think there's any good D tackles on the market currently. It's not like a Justin Simmons at safety. However, because Justin Simmons' contract will probably be a 1 year kind of $5 million deal, if we did go and sign him, then it would cancel out the comp pick. But then we would have a safety for a year. So the idea is, do you want to get a player for a year that you're probably not going to be married to long term, or do you want the pick that can be anything? It can be packaged and moved up. It can be part of a trade package down the line. It could just be a player. I don't know what the plan is, but I do understand if we don't sign someone else, right? Because the idea is that we haven't made enough moves yet. People are kind of like, hey, what's the next move? There's plenty of guys still out there. What's up with Asante? What's up with Justin? And we're just kind of like sitting here like, do 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 do. If the idea is that we care about the pick more than a future player, that we don't want to sign a long term big money, then I understand the philosophy. I don't know if that's what the plan is, but I do want to put that on your radar that it may not be we don't have anyone we can sign. It's just, is that 1 year rental worth a fourth round pick? I don't know. But speaking of the D line, the Dolphins have invited Shamar Turner, who is a defensive lineman for Texas A&M, for a pre-draft visit. Now, this is not Shamar Stewart, who will almost certainly be going in the top 20 picks. Shamar Turner is actually a D tackle, 6'3", 290, second team All SEC. So, good player. SEC is the cream of the crop. You second team All SEC. Yeah, that means you're probably one of the top 20 to 30 players in the country at your position, right? He's not the greatest prospect. Like his measurables aren't crazy. I mean, 6'3", 290 is good. It's not like the craziest in the world. He doesn't test off the charts. What he is, it's pretty productive. 3 year starter in the SEC, big deal. 10 sacks. I think he had 22, maybe 23 tackles for loss in his career. So, productive. Shows up on tape. Not a game breaker. This is not a guy you draft and think, oh man, this might be Aaron Donald. No. This is a guy you draft that may be like a Raekwon Davis was, right? He may be somebody that the potential is really high, but is more likely going to be kind of a middling performer, rotational guy, maybe a starter. We don't know, but he's shown that he can compete with the best at the highest level. Sure. He has not shown that he's the best at the highest level, though. And his ceiling is lower, right? Shamar Stewart's ceiling is he can be a Jadeveon Clowney type, all pro type player. He could also just kind of be a bust. Shamar Turner is going to be a solid D lineman. I could see him easily have an 8 to 10 year career. You know, 3 to 5 sacks a year, a couple TFLs. Journeyman. I could see that career for him. Now, right now, he's graded as a third round pick. We don't currently have a third round pick, so they will either be hoping he falls to the fourth, or if it's late in the third, we package our fourths together and try to move up to get him. I don't think he's worth moving picks around to get, but if he falls in the fourth, and we're looking at him, it's like, hey, that might be a good situation. So, not the best prospect in the world. Probably under the radar for a lot of teams because he's not one of the top 10, 12 at his position, but shown good production, 3-year starter, SEC school, decent production. He could be a decent pro. Now, this is something I didn't really think about until reading the article, but between 2020 and 2021, the Dolphins had 7 picks in the first 2 rounds, right? Like 4 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks. Crazy haul of picks, right? The Dolphins basically had a chance to do what the Rams did in reverse, because the Rams had done both of these. The Rams basically gave all their picks away, got a bunch of players to win a Super Bowl, and then traded everybody away, got picks back, and then redrafted the team and got competitive almost immediately. Philadelphia is kind of going through this now where we're just going to build a team through the draft. Hey, you're really good for a year. We'll pay you for a year. Bye. We'll just rebuild through the draft. We'll get every Georgia player ever imaginable. And Cooper DeJean, we're back out here, right? The Dolphins had a chance to basically rebuild their team in the draft, which is, in football, the smartest way to do it. You get a lot of good players, top 2 rounds. Got to think you're top at your position. And they're cheap for 4 to 5 years, right? So it's like the perfect storm. Good players, cheap, and then you add a couple pieces to build the team out. That's the way it should be done. That's what a team like Seattle did, right? Drafted Richard Sherman, drafted Earl Thomas, got Russell Wilson, and just started building the team out. Got Cam Chancellor, just did all the stuff. And then they added like a Michael Bennett, right? They're going to add, you just start adding a couple pieces to just build the team out. So with the Dolphins had all these picks, and you're probably wondering, well, what happened? Well, we got Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Ramsey. And we basically exhausted all those picks. Not actually all, but most of the picks. We just gave away for those 3 guys, which all 3 were great. 2 all pro level good. Bradley Chubb has never lived up quite to what he should have been. Fine, he's been very injured, but Tyreek and Jalen Ramsey at various points were the best of their position. So we understand why you make the move. The problem is that with the picks we had left over, the guys we drafted, this is the Waddles, this is the Austin Jacksons, the Eichenbergs, they're all either okay to good, but none were good enough to push us forward, right? Waddle was a pick after Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle are not in the same class. And I like Jalen Waddle. They're not in the same class, right? Eichenberg doesn't compare to a Zach Martin who was drafted. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you can be good at your position, but great is what would have put you over the top. We drafted these people early on. Like, as good as Austin Jackson is, Austin Jackson isn't like the best right tackle in the league. He's a really good right tackle. We feel good about the position. Also injury prone, again. So we had all this draft capital. We mortgaged it to get good players, great players. The great players were great, but the players we drafted that we expected to become great stayed good. And that's kind of where Miami is. That's why we're a good team. Like on most years, 10, 11 wins. Bad year, 8 wins. I don't see a scenario where the Dolphins are, 6 and 11. But are they going to be 13 and 4? It's unlikely. They're right in that little pocket where if we're healthy, 11 wins. Maybe 12 if you're really pushing it. But most likely, if we just kept the same iteration of this team for the next couple of years, 9, 10, 11 wins, you can almost book it, right? We'll probably lose to Buffalo once or twice a year. We'll lose to Kansas City, a couple other cold weather teams. We'll beat a team like San Francisco or, like you can almost kind of do it. And it's because our great players were great and are now becoming less great because they're getting older. And the good players that we drafted, the highly drafted players we got, didn't really, really pan out. Like, Tua's a top 5 pick. We love Tua. But is Tua a top 10 quarterback? Is Jalen Waddle a top 10 receiver? Like, that's what you would have needed. Because if Tua was Joe Burrow and Jalen Waddle was Jamar Chase, then you add Jalen Ramsey, then you add Tyreek, way different team. When you have good players adding great players, you still kind of stay in that good category. And that's kind of where Miami is. The blueprint's not dumb. It worked out multiple times. We've seen it work out. We just saw it with Philadelphia. Philadelphia said, hey, we're going to just basically redo our secondary. We're going to just redo it. We just throw a couple young people in there. Hey, our D-line's getting kind of old. throw a couple young bucks in there. Linebackers, yeah, let's throw some young people in there. Like O-line, hey, let's throw that guy here for a year. But yes, they also drafted, you know, Jalen Hurts. They drafted Devontae Smith, right? Jalen Hurts has proven to be very good, especially in the playoffs. Devontae Smith is as good as they thought he would be, but then they went and got AJ Brown. And AJ Brown is awesome. AJ Brown is awesome. So you add awesome to really good in Devontae, who's been also pretty healthy. Then offensive line, hey, we're gonna get Dickinson, we're gonna get this guy, and they start building like Mailata. They're gonna start building this team out. All of a sudden, we drafted no lineman a year ago. 2 years later, he's an All Pro. That's how you can build a team out, and it's just something that can work. We tried it; it did not work. It's worked out well for the Rams, and some teams have had picks and it hasn't worked out. Detroit was another team that did very well in the draft. Let's get Sam Laporta. Let's go get Sonic. Or, yes, he's Sonic. I was like, who's Knuckles is Montgomery. Sonic is Jameer Gibbs. Let's get him. Let's get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's go get Jamison Williams. Oh, but let's go get Goff to add to this. Oh, let's get Penei Sewell in the draft. So now Goff, awesome. Penei Sewell, arguably the best, but then we drafted the guys around it. So Miami tried the same strategy. It just didn't work out. Some of that is very much injury based. I mean, everyone I mentioned basically has had some kind of injury concern. Jalen Ramsey's been pretty healthy, but other than that, Tyreek was hurt all last year. Obviously, Tua's been hurt. Jalen Waddle, even though he plays a lot of games, leaves a lot of games early because he's been injured. Austin Jackson missed most of the last year. It's a thing where we just didn't get it right. We're more Philadelphia than we are Golden State, and that's kind of the problem. With Philadelphia, the process was a smart idea, but when your best players are Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons, and then you draft Joel Embiid, where you actually hit it. We got the right guy, but then he gets hurt. So I think the blueprint was right. It just didn't work out. And I don't know what the next blueprint is because Chris Greer is a kind of mysterious guy. So we'll see what happens going forward. But I think the idea was right. It just didn't work out. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes, subscribe, shares, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.